Do you like drama and teenage angst? Well, then you're gonna love Selah and the Spades. But man, Lord, high school was not like this for me. Whew. Ooh. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm talking all about Selah and the Spades that just dropped on Amazon Prime Video. It is quite the film, but before I dive right into it, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me, and I love talking all about movies. So if you like what you hear and what you see, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. You're not going to want to miss out on anything new, so tap on the bell right next to it just to stay up to date. I dropped a couple of videos last night talking about Hugh Jackman possibly being in the MCU, but not really. And then also my reaction to the Capone trailer starring Tom Hardy, which is gonna be interesting, but you know we're gonna talk about it when it drops on streaming, and I'll review it for you guys, I promise. In case you're new here, we have been getting closer and closer to the biggest milestone for this channel, 1,000 subscribers. We're right there, you guys. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has been supporting on this journey, that has been watching every video, liking it, sharing it, and dropping comments down below. So I'm gonna ask you guys to do that yet again. Let me know what you guys think of Selah and the Spades, or if you're even interested in the film. There's a poll right at the top of the screen that's gonna ask you guys if you are gonna watch it this weekend. And before we get started, I want to say a huge thank you to Amazon Studios for providing me with the screener link. At times like these where press can't go to screenings, it really is a blessing just to watch movies at home and TV shows, so thanks, Amazon. Okay, so let's waste no more time and get right into the movie. Now, it is written and directed by Tayarisha Poe. It is her directorial debut, and this is actually a big deal because Amazon Prime Video is huge right now. So is Netflix, Hulu, and Disney+. So if you can get your directorial debut on a network like this, you're in good hands. Now, admittedly, I didn't know much about the movie going into it. I figured it was gonna be a movie that dealt with, you know, teenage angst and maybe some factions in terms of like cliques and stuff like that, and to a degree it did, but it is much more than that. Immediately, right off the bat, there are a few quotes that open up the film, I'm guessing from a novel or a book, and it definitely sets the stage for what is a movie that deals with a lot of female empowerment undertones, and sometimes it hits you over the head with it, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The movie is a decent drama. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, there are some things I didn't like about the film, but let's start off with what I really thought worked with Selah and the Spades. And that starts right at the top with Selah, who leads this faction called the Spades and is up against the Bobbies and some of these other groups that they don't really pay too much attention to in the film. But Selah's played by Lovie Simone, and she is actually a really good actor. I think that she does a great job at conveying sometimes a shy approach and then an overpowering approach. It is really fun to watch her just go through the performance from start to finish. Now, the next actor that jumped right out to me when I went through the cast and crew list is Jharrel. Jerome. He plays Maxie, which is Selah's right-hand man, and he is a fantastic actor. If you don't know who he is, he starred in Moonlight. I really recommend that movie if you haven't seen it yet, but he is just unreal. In this film, he actually is one of the best parts of the film. And then there's another actor you might recognize, not only from the Samsung commercials, but he's been in a ton of TV shows as well. His name is Jesse Williams. He plays Headmaster Banton, who, of course, with this charter school, or boarding school, excuse me, is trying to put an end to the factions, the juniors and the seniors and the sophomores and the freshmen. It's all a big mess. And then the last of our main cast is a character throughout the film that you really start to see the arc, and I love that they really explored her character a ton. That's Celeste O'Connor, who plays Paloma, and she's a photographer who isn't ready to be a part of the Spades until Selah takes her under her wing. And it is a beautiful arc. I think that this is the strongest point for the film. So this is what Tayarisha Poe does well, is she's good at writing characters. The drama, not so much, but we'll talk about that. But when it comes to the character arc for Paloma, it is fantastic, and I think that it is so intriguing just to see where someone who was so immature and so young has to be forced into the situation where she needs to be wiser beyond her years. She's the only one that I actually rooted for, to be honest. All these other characters were not very likable, especially Selah. Oh man, she was... I think this was the intention, sure, but she was just a jerk to a lot of her friends and her classmates. Now, as I was trying to feel out the film, I really understood what it was going to be. I'm a huge fan of what Tayarisha Poe is trying to do here. The only problem is she gets away from it. The drama, like I've been saying, sometimes it gets a little old, and I guess that's where we can start with some of the negatives. The drama here, I think that it gets dry and it's a little old and redundant, especially towards the end. And it doesn't help that the dialogue sounds like it's been stripped from a book, and at many moments in this movie, it's very unnatural. I didn't even feel like I connected and resonated with any of those meetings of the minds where the factions meet at the picnic table. To me, it felt like it was a little overdone. And I know we're talking about the negatives here, but there is a positive to be found. There's like a little silver lining here. There's a lot of aesthetics over substance, which I get because this is more of an indie film, and I understand that it has an art house vibe. But the cinematography here really is beautiful. Jerome does a really good job at lighting scenes and getting very unique angles. The problem is, when you start to see enough of the same shots, you think to yourself, okay, I think I'm a little tired of all of this flashy cinematography. I really would like more dialogue that will resonate with me. I want a plot that'll be really strong towards the end. And the problem is the movie starts to run out of steam as we get closer to the end of that hour-and-a-half runtime. And then there are some moments in here that really just made me suspend belief because, look, I understand this movie is a little over the top. But then you find out that Selah's running a drug ring? What? Not only was it so unbelievable, it didn't work for me. I thought that maybe that was where the movie took a little bit of a detour, and I understand that there needed to be one central issue with Selah, which is she's too egotistical and she wants to run this ring by herself. When Paloma gets involved, it becomes a little muddled, but the problem is here that I don't think it really helped the plot. If anything, it kind of hurt it. I felt like the main idea here was focusing on not even Selah, it was Paloma. Her character arc was the gem. It was the one thing that I could tell you was excellent about this film. And I understand that Tayarisha Poe is really doing her best job at trying to flesh out Selah. There's a moment where we go and visit her family, her mother and father. The only issue is there's this speech that her mother gives to Lovie Simone's character, and I'm like, it's about a scorpion, and I don't think that it was too artsy in a sense. It felt like so unnatural. This is not a conversation I think that a mother would have with her daughter. It didn't work for me. I understand where it was trying to go, but I think that it bogged down the movie just a little bit. And then eventually when you get to the ending, sometimes a good ending can make up for some of the decent to bad points in a film, but a weak ending can distract you from everything good in a movie. And unfortunately, this is a type of film where you're going to watch it from start to finish, and I know there are going to be a lot of people that are very upset with the ending, only because you kind of want a resolution, and the movie doesn't give you that necessarily. Now, I have no problem filling in the blanks up here. The only thing is, I don't think that it did a very good job at leaving you hanging. If anything, it just felt like it stopped. So overall, Selah and the Spades, I wouldn't say is an awful film. There's a decent bit of drama, and I love the way Tayarisha Poe writes the characters here. Only issue is, I'm not sure I necessarily loved the movie, and for me, I got a little distracted by these long, drawn-out shots, and there's a moment where Jerome kind of disappears in the film, and I get it because of his character's progression, but I'm not necessarily thinking that was the best idea because he was the anchor for this movie. He's the one that kept everything together, so you take him off screen, and I think things start to fall apart. It's a decent directorial debut, it really is, and I think that the cinematography here is going to captivate a lot of people. I'm just not so sure it's anything more than just a decent drama. So if I even had to give it a star rating, it probably would be around the 3 out of 5 star mark. I'm a big fan of Jerome, and I loved Paloma's character here. Again, it's just not enough to really keep your attention and make it feel like it was a worthy ending to this story. Alrighty, you guys, so there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Selah and the Spades. Again, if you loved everything you just heard and saw, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. We're this close to 1,000 subscribers. You're not going to want to miss out on anything new that we have coming up over the next week, so tap on the bell right next to it just so you can stay up to date with everything new. Like this video, share it with your friends, and in the comments below, let me know what you think of Selah and the Spades. Did you watch the movie? Or if you did and you don't like my review, let me know what you think as well. Alrighty, you guys, so again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.